and Steph. Hello, church. Good morning. Pastor Sean here from the beautiful Wekiwachi. Right now, church is going on in the building at Diamond Head. So we're praying for them. Pastor Mike is down there this morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Pastor Pop is there this morning. If you're watching online and you're kind of back and forth in both these places, we will not have on campus or Lord, hope my tongue works in a minute. In-person church next Sunday at the Diamond Head because of the Sand Sculpting Festival. So it'll be all online next Sunday morning. So be sure and tune in right here or wherever you get your online church. We'll be here for you. So we're going to jump right in and look at just continuing with this war in your mind and how we can battle it and how we can, win it. The title of the book I told you about last week was Winning the War in Your Mind. It's by Pastor Craig Groeschel. Great pastor. Met him long time ago. And he's put out quite a few books, and I don't read them all, but I read this one and it was really life-changing. So if you want to grab that book, go ahead and grab it. But this morning we're going to look at how we can take these negative thoughts or how we can reshape some things. Paul said this in 2 Corinthians 10, 3-5. He said, "We do not live in the world. We do not wage war. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of this world. On the contrary, our weapons, they have divine power to demolish strongholds." We talked about strongholds a couple of weeks ago. And it's that wrong pattern of thinking. That's what a stronghold is. So we're held hostage by the lies we believe, by the things that's been put into our brain that we take on, that we live under, the stuff that we put in to ourselves. It builds these lies inside of ourselves that it could be that you're not good enough, that you're never going to amount to anything. You'll never have money, whatever it is, something that says it's against you, right? And he keeps going. It says, we demolish these arguments and every pretense that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive. We talked about that last week, because we take the stuff that comes in our brain, we take captive. And we hold it and we analyze it, and then we build a truth against it. If it's a negative thought, we take one of God's truths and we apply it to it and we demolish it. That's sort of that process. And so today we're going to talk about defeating these negative thoughts, right? To demolish this, to be able to take this power and to use it for our good. And today we're going to sort of focus on a little thing called, I'm not going to focus on it, but it's cognitive bias. I don't think anything about cognitive bias, but a cognitive bias is something that you already have built into your brain that tells you how you're going to react to something or what you're going to believe about something. And we'll also call it this mental failure. The title I put on there today is "What's your filter?" or "What filter is this that you're using?" Or I don't even remember what I put. But what filter do you look at life through? There's a bunch of stuff out there that says, the entitlement mentality. Well, people look at their life through a filter that they're entitled to things, right? Some of that can be positive. I'm entitled to a life of grace under God. I'm entitled to all the blessings that God promises me as I live my life through him. That's an entitlement. But other things, you can take that same concept and it's a negative. And the things that we're entitled to that we aren't really entitled to, right? A lot of people believe they're entitled to money even though they don't work. That's a bad mentality. That just doesn't work. People think they're entitled to what everybody else has, regardless of how they live their life. It's just, if you've got it, then and I deserve it. Bible speaks about all that stuff too. That was in the beginning, man. He's like, don't look at the other people's stuff. Don't be coveting those things. That's not you. That's not for you, right? So you're going to make your own life with me, and we're going to get the things that I want you to get. But we tend to look at our life, and so if I think I have a mentality of entitlement, then I will look at life through that filter, and everything I see, I will believe I'm entitled to. If I want it, then I believe I should have it. Think about that. You see something, you believe you should have it. That's a mentality that could be negative. What if God doesn't want you to have it? but you believe you should have it based on the filter that you're looking at this life through. I meet a lot of people now. I mean, now I've got a job out in the world. I'm in school. I do a lot of things. So I'm meeting more than just church people, right? Or even people who are seeking to come to church, right? I used to, when I was on campus, there would always be somebody coming by the church looking for something from the church or from Christians, or Christians would come to church through the week and they would do. So that was a whole other ballgame. But now I'm out in the, where you all are constantly at work or at school or whatever you do. You're in the middle and you see these different mentalities. One thing that happens to me is that I meet a lot of younger single moms, right? And many of them have a filter built in against men, but that's just the way they've seen the men they've seen are horrible. They didn't treat them right. They did bad things. And so now their filter to pretty much all men is the same. And they believe that men are evil. And before you out there and thumbs up and all that stuff, just remember, it's just the filter that they've seen their life through. And they've allowed that filter to come into their life and use it going forward. Maybe it could be anything the way that you've built, that your life has been built. These strongholds have been put inside of you. You will now look out at the world and you will see it through that filter. And you think about filters, I watch a lot of social media. That I watch more social media than I'm supposed to watch or that I should watch. And I'm just been transparent since we started this, that habit's got to go. It's not going very good. Even this morning, Sharon goes, I woke up the other morning and you were just there, and I framed it different. I was like, well, I was just waiting for you to wake up, but I didn't want to get out of bed. And that's true, but I'd rather do that. It's silly. But what I've noticed is that people will put a filter on their life or on their pictures. You all done this, right? If I had wrinkles, or if I have wrinkles. Yeah, I have wrinkles. If I was really cared, then I would take a picture and I would smooth those out with a filter. I would straighten that out. And I would want people to see me through that filter. And sometimes you and I take this filter that we have and we place it on the world or what we live, how we live, and what we're in the middle of. And we look at the world through that filter. Okay, I'll step on your toes a minute. Many of you look at the world and what's going on through the filter of a particular news channel or organization. I'm not even going to mention which ones you use because it's all the same, no matter what side you look from. And then you look at things that are going on, and your cognitive bias is built on what you've been fed. The facts you say, the facts you have been fed to you from a particular source. And so even though those facts are right, the filter you use to interpret them builds how you feel and how you react. I dare you to try it. Last week we was talking and Dennis popped up in the middle of service and he was like, I see it. I watch all of them because I want to see how it comes. Now, he didn't explain which one he agrees with, but I promise you, he agrees with one of them. We all do. We all pick one. And then that's the filter that we use to go about our daily life. If we're going to engage in conversation, we're going to engage in it from the side of the filter that we use. And that's how we're going to talk to people. Here's what we know. If you change the filter, you change the way you feel. When you change how you're looking at something, you change how you feel about it. You change how you react to it, how you respond to it. And so this cognitive bias that I mentioned is your default filter. Everything that you look at and view and feel about is built and based upon this cognitive bias, this default filter that's in your life. And it's across every area of your life, every aspect, your relationships, your money, where you live, how you live, your job. It's all based on this default filter that you have. And you know this. We all know this because we're certain we are a way we are. And you'll say things like, well, that's just the way I am. That's just the way I see things. Well, the Bible's pretty clear that the way you see things most likely is wrong. Because when we use our human filter, our cognitive, sin-filled filter, we will look at it wrongly. We will see it from the wrong angle. It will be blurred. It will be shined up in a way that makes us appreciate it. But it will be wrong. If not, why in the world would the Bible tell us that we need to reframe it, that we need to renew our minds? Paul says, renew your minds. And we talked last week about the things that you have to put into your mind in order, or the way you need to, the stuff you need to think on to renew it. Because you and I don't think on the things, those honorable, peaceful, admirable, pretty, it's lovely, I think was the word. We don't do that. We just don't. If we did, our life would be different. You see, I told you last week, I'm coming from a perspective that I believe you and I have the most, as Christians, we have the most work to do to change our world. And so I know we're not doing it, because you still look out at the world and it's, and everybody feels the same way, one or the other way. Anyway, we're so divided right now, right? So that means you and I have to renew our minds. We have to be the ones that change. You can't expect the world to change. They're acting exactly like they're supposed to. You and I, however, are supposed to be renewing our minds, changing our minds, changing the way we look at things. You know, it's funny. You can have two people come into the church. Well, okay, we used to have a church, right? It used to be a building. So we used to have a church building. We still have a church. We used to have a church building, and two different people could come in on a Sunday, right? And I would get emails from visitors. And one person, they were both in the same service. One person would say, that music was too loud. That music was too fast. I can't believe you dressed the way you dressed. This is just the most liberal thinking, or whatever it was. And then I would get an email, same week, different person. That was so refreshing. I'm so glad to see the Spirit of God moving and active and on the move. The music was awesome. And the message was great. And I'm just like, are you sure y'all were in the same place? But see, they came in with filters on. They came because the facts were the same. The music was the same. The preaching was the same. The attitudes were the same. All that was the same. But how they saw it was totally different. Their filter was different in how they saw it. Did you know that? So let's say two people go in to work, right? And they're getting feedback from their manager. I don't know if you have growth opportunities. I don't know. There's some different words out there now that corporate world, because we've gotten so offended by stuff. So there are opportunities for development and stuff like that. Let's say your manager comes in, they give you some feedback, and they're like, you know what? Your projects, they're a little behind, right? Your time scale, your timetable needs to be adjusted. You need to get them done sooner, right? Or they're not as thorough and all this stuff. Well, one person can hear that feedback, and they can say, well, who do you think you are? This company needs me. Look, you wouldn't be able to exist without me. And then the very next person could come in, get the exact same feedback, and they could say, hey, thank you for that. I'll take that and I'll grow with it. I'll get better. And, you know, there's always room for improvement. And I'm so thankful to have a job, and I'm thankful to be able to stay here, right? Two same facts. How you looked at it, how you received it, totally different. Now, I hope you're seeing a common denominator. Well, I hope you're seeing a common denominator, but it might hurt when you see the common denominator. The common denominator in all this is you and I. There's a glare. Should I just get rid of them? Ooh, I don't know. No, we're going to wear them. There's a glare right there. I hope y'all see it. You and I are the common denominators here. You and I have to make the changes. You and I have to look at things from a different perspective. The world's not going to change their facts. Why? Because they're facts. Listen, that person that received that feedback, most likely, their stuff was not on time. Their stuff was not that thorough. Both of those guys. One of them saw an opportunity for improvement. The other one saw a whiner, a way to whine, a way to gripe, a way to push back. And this has actually happened in the Bible. I'm going to give you this example. Numbers chapter 13 and 14. What happened? Moses sent 12 spies out to explore the land that they were going to go into. 12 of them went out. They all saw the exact same thing. They all witnessed these people living in this land, the land itself, and they observed it, they saw it, and they came back and they did a report. Interestingly, 10 of them came back with a negative report. 2 of them came back and said this: oh my gosh, it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's perfect. God has given it to us. Let us go and take this land. 10 of them came back and they said, it's funny that the most are negative. Write that down, use it, because in you and I living out here and thinking, the majority are negative. They came back and they said, they're afraid. These people, I'm trying to get the exact words here. The land, it says, the land devours people. It's dangerous. And they're giants. We're like grasshoppers in their eyes. Now get this. What I promise you is that none of the 12 went and interviewed a giant. Probably never even talked to him. They didn't go up and have this conversation. It was just the eyes that they looked at the area from. Now I'll tell you, 10 of them, they probably liked where they lived. They probably liked what they were doing. They were probably comfortable. They probably felt like they had everything they needed. And if they didn't need something else, they didn't need to go and get it somewhere. Or maybe that what they had was pretty much the same as what they saw, and they just didn't see a need to move. It was just, you know what, it's fine. It's a lateral move. I don't need to do it. But the difference is God was giving it to them. God was saying, you're going here. And what they did is they went and they analyzed what God was giving them, what God was asking them to do. And then they had their attitudes. And then they had their blinders, their filters on. And they looked at what God was giving them, and they decided to critique it. Hold up. Wait a minute. Is that like you and me? Just want you to know. I just want to know. You need to ask yourself that. And you need to say, am I like that? But you know what? It's not just about the filter. It's also about the frame. Has anybody ever done this? I don't know if this is going to work from here. How do you do this? Okay, you're supposed to make an L. Oh, there it is. There. You ever frame something? You know, you see the directors, right? They take this and they look and they're like, okay, so when I'm looking through this, what's it going to look like? Yeah. How do you frame your day? How do you frame your life? Right? When you wake up in the morning, you've got your day ahead of you. Do you look out at it and go, oh my God, I got to do this again? The people I work with, they're horrible. Right? Or I'm never going to get ahead. It's the same thing day after day after day. And when you wake up that way, you frame your day and you look at your day like that, guess what kind of day you're going to have? That kind of day. I've never met anybody that wakes up negative, right? I know a lot of miserable people. And they're walking around life looking at it miserably. And at the end of the day, guess what? They're still miserable. Same day. Many of them, I live or work alongside of them or go to school alongside them, and we're having the exact same day. They're miserable. And I can get that way. If I frame my day like that, it's going to be miserable. And guess what? I can get up and frame my day positive. Man, today, it's going to be an awesome day. We're going to get a lot done. Yeah, you know what? Some of those people I'm around, not very nice. That's all right. That's right. I can make an impact. I'm not going to try to change them, but I can let them see something different than they. I don't know what that was. I can let them see something that's different in my life that they may not have in theirs. I can just be different. Yeah, it's the same thing, but I'm getting closer to something. What is it? For me, it's an education. It's a different part of the job. It's whatever. But you got to look at where you're going and frame it in a positive. I feel like the guy on My Cousin Vinny when he's talking, the prosecutor, he's like, same, exact same make, model. It's right. And it is. That you go to court, they're both presenting facts, right? But how they frame it, how they look at it, what filter they use, both those things is what determines what other people believe. I read this, comparison. Buzzards and hummingbirds both wake up and go out for their day. And they both find what they're looking for. Think about it. Buzzards go out and look for dead things, roadkill. Nasty. What do they find? Roadkill. Nasty. That's how they survive. What's a hummingbird look for? Sweet, honey, nectar. What do they find? Say it. Sweet, honey, nectar. You find what you're looking for. You look for it. You will find it. If you frame your life that way. See, a hummingbird frames its life at the day, and it says, I'm going to go out and I'm going to find what's good, what's wholesome. What happens when a hummingbird lands down on some roadkill? Blah. Yeah, that's you and me. You and I are supposed to be the hummingbirds, looking for, framing for, looking at the world through a filter of the life Christ has given us. And we're supposed to look for the sweet, the admirable, the lovely, right? And instead, we go for the roadkill. That's kind of dumb. You and I just go for it. We just put it in there, and we think about that stuff, and we put it into our brain, and that's how we operate. And then we wonder, why am I not happy? Why am I not joyful? You think it's your circumstance? It's not. It's you. It's the way you're framing your life. It's the filter by which you're looking at your life through. We are setting ourselves up. And we knew this. The Bible knew this. That's why he said, renew your mind. You're going to have to change it. You're going to have to make the changes. The world's not going to change around you. God's not just going to give you perfect stuff so that you feel good all the time. Nope. He's going to help you through this troubled world, this troubling time. I'm afraid there's a lot of people who frame God, and they say things like, I don't like what's going on, God, rather than looking for the goodness of God in every day. It's not the facts that are different. It's the filter and the frame by what you look at it. So you can't control what happens to you, but the good news is you control how you frame it. You build the frame. It's your materials that builds your frame. So I'm going to give you three things, maybe a little more. And because some of us find ourselves in areas that we never thought we would be in. Right? I don't know about you, but my life is a little different than I thought it was gonna be. I thought I would retire on the beach. I thought I would have a house on the beach that I lived in, and that I would retire from beach baptism. Well, and hopefully still will. But my picture, my frame was a little different. So when things happened and it didn't fit into my frame, I got discouraged. I set my own frame. And I said, this is horrible. This is life-changing. Well, that was. But it's in a negative way. Right? And I started looking at everything through tiresome, through a non-thankful heart. We've talked about this after the hurricane. Yeah, absolutely. To be thankful for where we are and what we got, even though we don't have what we used to have. Can you still be? Why are we only thankful for what we had? Why don't we be thankful for what we've got at any given moment? See, I find myself only being thankful for the stuff that I lost, and I'm not going to be happy if I don't get it back. I got more crap now than I did before it all got thrown away. And I'm still looking back at stuff that was lost. I was just cleaning garage stuff the other day, and I'm like, oh, I used to have that. And I got 3 other ones, totally different, but they do the same thing, a tool. And here I am, can't just be thankful for what I do have. Always worried about what I lost and what I don't have anymore. That same concept is with the Apostle Paul as well. I'll give you this. His dream, man, passionate dream. He had an idea in his brain about what his life was going to look like. And he wanted to go to Rome to preach the gospel. He just knew in his heart that's what he was going to do. And he believed that if he wanted it badly enough and prayed hard enough and worked hard enough, that God would give him what he wanted. And he did. It happened. He got to go to Rome to preach the gospel. Isn't that awesome? But how did he get to Rome to preach the gospel? Well, I'm going to tell you. Philippians 1:12-13. And this is from the NWV version, because this is how Paul could have said what happened to him when he got to Rome to preach the gospel. And NWV stands for the New Winers version. You can buy it on the Amazon store, or just find my affiliate link and you'll get it. That sarcasm, in case you're not new to me. He could have said this. He could have said, now I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me really sucks. As a result of all the hell I've been through, I'm quitting and never going back to church. That's what he could have said in the NWV, New Winers version. But that's not real, okay? I mean, it is my favorite version sometimes, because I rewrite a lot of what God does in my life to the Winers version. Here's what he said. I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me, although it may really look bad to most people, it's actually served to advance the gospel. He said, as a result, it's become clear to those in the palace guard, even though it looks like I'm in bad shape, it's clear to everyone that I'm in chains for Christ. He was literally in jail, chained to a Roman guard. He got a new one every 8 hours. And he started to preach to every guard that would get chained to him. Now, that's a pretty big reframing. To be able to just take your circumstance and find the goodness of God in it. Because let me tell you what I'm really good at. I'm really good at taking the goodness of God, looking at the goodness of God through my circumstance. See, I need to look at the goodness of God. Am I saying that backwards? I find the goodness of God in my circumstance. That's wrong. I need to look at my circumstance from the goodness of God. There, I did it right. But see, I like to take my circumstance and let it drive my life, not the goodness of God. And see, Paul right here is saying, I'm going to find the goodness of God, no matter the circumstance. Chain me to a Roman guard. I'm going to preach 8-hour sermons. Can you believe? You think there were guards that was like, you didn't give me Paul. I ain't working for him today. No, sir. Heard it enough. And then there are others that are like, I want to hear more of that. I want to hear more of that. Paul goes on and he says, because of it, the gospel is going out. And people are coming to Christ. People are learning more about God because of my horrible circumstance, but also because of the goodness of God. I want to read it this way because I wrote it down earlier. We're not interpreting the goodness of God through our circumstances. We're interpreting our circumstances through the goodness of God. That's what we need to do. See, his circumstance advanced the gospel. What is your circumstance doing for the kingdom of God that you need to acknowledge, that you need to see, that you need to look at from a different perspective? You need to look for God's goodness in these circumstances. I think I told you I was going to give you 3 things. I gave them to you, but I didn't number them. You need to look for God's goodness. You need to see it in every single thing. Don't just try to make something good out of it. You see, we try to be that Bible verse. We try to say, well, I'm going to work it all out for good. That's not your job. You are to live in the goodness of God. He will work the circumstances out for good, not for your good, but for the good, because you love him. See, that verse is not promising that your circumstances are going to be good for you. Your circumstances will be good for the kingdom. And when your circumstances are good for the kingdom, you have a fulfilled life. You have joy, you have peace, you have the things that are promised to you, because you're not looking at your circumstance, you're looking at the goodness of God. All 3 weeks, right at the end, I put it back to you. Jesus is your focus in your life. When you wake up tomorrow and you've got to go to work, thank him for a job. Not a lot of people have one. Or I shouldn't say not a lot. Many people don't. If your car is like one of those clunkers, my car has 250,000 miles on it. I love my truck. I do. I drive by new trucks. I'm like, oh, those are pretty, but I love my truck. And I'm thankful that I have that truck. It was through the generosity of one of you all out there that donated it to me after the hurricane when we lost all our cars. And maybe that's why I love it, because I know it came from God, not just that person, but through that person from God. So maybe you need to get in your car, start it. Thank you for giving me even something to drive to this job. And get to that job and say, thank you for this job. Thank you for the people that I'm going to interact with today. Thank you for the ability to do a good job for these people. They don't owe me a job. I am not entitled to this job. I'm going to go get a degree. I'm going to get registered and I'm going to be a nurse, but I am not entitled to a job because of it. I am going to be thankful when I get it. And I want to live it like I'm thankful. If you and I could switch that around and let the world start to see us living a life through a filter of the goodness of God and the fact that God has given us what we've got and provided it for us, and be thankful for now and not then and all that stuff, the people around us will change. They will. You might think you're in chains. Preach the gospel anyway. Live it out. Be who God asks you to be in every single situation. Let me pray for you, because there's work to do. We got to get on it. God, I thank you for the ability to just go out and live. I truly do. I want to be who you want me to be in all areas of my life. Help me replace these things in my life that have caused me to look at life through a filter that's negative. Help me look at it through your filter, through you. Let me see them the way you do. Let me see my life the way you do. In your name we pray. Amen. Y'all have a good week. I'll see you back here next week, same time, same place.